I overheard my wife and son plotting with a lawyer to declare me mentally incompetent to seize my business. I walked in, passed the competency test, fired my son, and divorced my wife, and then... Original post I, 57 male. Still can't believe I'm typing this. My hands are shaking, but I'm weirdly calm, like my brain went into survival mode. So I own a commercial refrigeration company. Started it 28 years ago in a garage, built it up to $12 million annual revenue, 45 employees. My son, 32, has worked there for 6 years as operations manager. Not because of nepotism. Kid actually went to business school, worked at 2 other companies first. I was proud when he joined. My wife, 54, never worked after we got married. She managed the house, raised our 2 kids. Standard arrangement for our generation. I provided well, never complained about her spending. We had our issues like any couple, but I thought we were solid. Last Tuesday changed everything. I came home early from a supplier meeting that got canceled. Around 2 p.m., pulled into the driveway and saw an unfamiliar BMW. Figured my wife had a friend over. Walked in through the garage, heard voices in my home office. The door was mostly closed, but not latched. I was about to announce myself when I heard my son's voice. So realistically, how long does the whole process take? Male voice I didn't recognize. If we can establish a pattern of concerning behavior, maybe 3 to 4 months. The key is documentation. My wife, he's been forgetting things, repeating himself. Last week, he couldn't remember our neighbor's name. I'm standing there frozen in the hallway. The stranger? That's good. We need more. Doctor's visits where he seems confused, missed appointments, any erratic business decisions. My son, he vetoed the Riverside contract last month, made 0 cents financially. That's documented. For context, the Riverside contract was a low-ball bid from a client known for payment issues. I rejected it because I've been in business long enough to spot red flags. My son wanted it to pad his numbers. My wife, what about his temper? He's been more irritable. Yeah, because my wife's been spending like we print money and my son keeps pushing risky deals. The stranger, perfect. Keep detailed notes, dates, times, witnesses if possible. We'll need testimony from both of you about his declining capacity. My son, and once he's declared incompetent, the conservatorship transfers business control to me? Correct. As his son and the operations manager, you're the logical choice. Your mother would handle personal affairs and assets. My wife, how much are we talking for your retainer? $25,000 to start. But considering the business valuation, it's a worthwhile investment. I walked in, just opened the door and stood there. The lawyer, this slick-back corporate type in a $2,000 suit, went pale. My wife jumped like she'd been electrocuted. My son at least had the decency to look sick. Meeting going well? My voice came out steady. Nobody spoke. The lawyer started shoving papers into his briefcase. Don't bother, I said to him. You're not getting that retainer. My wife recovered first, always was quick on her feet. Honey, this isn't what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like. You're trying to have me declared mentally incompetent to steal my business. My son, Dad, we're worried about you. You've been acting different. Save it. I heard everything, every word. The lawyer tried to leave, but I blocked the doorway. Not yet. You sit back down and explain the legal requirements for a competency evaluation. He stammered something about needing to leave. Sit down. Or I call the state bar right now and report you for conspiring with family members to commit elder fraud. He sat, started explaining, trying to make it sound clinical and necessary. How concerned family members can petition for evaluation. How a medical professional determines capacity. How it's really for the person's own protection. And how much of this did you already file? Nothing yet. This was just a consultation. Get out. All of you get out of my office. The lawyer practically ran. My son tried to say something, but I pointed at the door. He left. My wife stayed. Started crying. You're not thinking clearly. We're trying to help you. You're trying to rob me. Get out. She left. I locked the office door and made some calls. First call, my personal doctor. Explained the situation. Asked for an emergency cognitive assessment. He fit me in that same afternoon. Second call, my CPA. Gave him a heads up that things were about to get messy. Asked him to prepare complete documentation of all business financials. Third call, a divorce attorney my golf buddy recommended. Left a message. Fourth call, My corporate attorney explained everything, asked about steps to protect the business. The cognitive assessment took 2 hours. Memory tests, problem solving, questionnaires. My doctor's known me for 15 years. He was pissed when I explained why I needed it. Your mind is sharp as ever. I'll have a full written report by tomorrow documenting your complete cognitive health. Got home around 7 p.m. My wife was in the living room, red-eyed. My son was there too. My wife, we need to talk about this rationally. Agreed. Here's rational. You two tried to commit legal fraud. I have a witness, that lawyer, and I recorded the whole conversation from the hallway after I walked in. That was a lie, but they didn't know that. My son went white. You recorded us, every word. And tomorrow morning, you're fired. Clean out your desk by 9 a.m. or security will escort you out. My son, Dad, please, I need that job. Should have thought about that before trying to steal my company. My wife, you can't just fire him. That's wrongful termination. He's an at-will employee who just demonstrated catastrophically poor judgment and disloyalty. Watch me. Went to the bedroom, packed a bag. My wife followed, still crying, still making excuses. How they were worried, how I've changed, how they're protecting me. You're protecting yourselves. Don't contact me. My lawyer will be in touch. Stayed at a hotel that night. Couldn't sleep. Just sat there replaying the conversation. 26 years of marriage, raising 2 kids, building a life together. And this is how it ends? With her plotting to declare me insane so she could take everything? The divorce attorney called back at 11 p.m. We talked for an hour. She's representing me as of right now. Update 1 week later. So the entitlement levels have reached absolutely unhinged territory. Day 1 after confronting them. Showed up at the office at 6 a.m. Had my corporate attorney and HR director meet me. Explained the situation with documentation. They were both floored. My son arrived at 8:30. Tried to walk past security. His badge didn't work. He called me. I didn't answer. Security gave him a box and supervised while he cleaned out his desk. He tried to access his work computer, already locked down by IT. They found him trying to download files to a USB drive. Security confiscated it. The USB had client lists, supplier contacts, our entire operations manual, and financial projections. He wasn't just getting fired, he was planning to compete against me. My corporate attorney sent him a cease and desist by noon. Non-compete clause in his employment contract is ironclad. He signed it 6 years ago without reading it, apparently. Meanwhile, my wife was blowing up my phone. I counted 89 calls and texts that first day. Everything from, how could you, to destroying our family, to, I'll take you for everything in the divorce. My divorce attorney's response was beautiful. Ma'am, your husband has done documentation that you conspired to have him declared incompetent. That's elder abuse in the state. You might want to reconsider your tone. Radio silence for exactly 12 hours after that. Then came the financial warfare. Day 3. My wife maxed out every credit card I'd given her. Over $45,000 in charges in one afternoon. Jewelry, handbags, electronics. Even bought an $8,000 handbag. Took screenshots of everything before I called the card companies. Cards canceled within an hour. She also cleaned out our joint checking account. We kept $10,000 in there for household expenses. Gone. Transferred it to her personal account. Joke's on her though. That was our only joint account. Everything else has always been separate. The business accounts, investment accounts, primary checking, all solely in my name. She had access to one account that I used for household bills. Day 4. Got a letter from her attorney demanding temporary spousal support of $15,000 monthly to maintain the marital standard of living. Also demanding I vacate our marital home and continue paying the mortgage while she lives there. My divorce attorney laughed. Actually laughed out loud. Then sent back a response listing the elder abuse conspiracy, the credit card fraud, and the asset dissipation. Offered $3,000 monthly temporary support and suggested my wife find employment. Day 5. My daughter, 29, called. She lives 2 states away, works as a physical therapist. Dad, what's going on? Mom's saying you've lost your mind and attacked her? Explained everything. Sent her the cognitive assessment results from my doctor. The relief in her voice was obvious. I knew something was wrong. She's been weird on the phone lately, asking about your will, about the business structure. I thought she was just being paranoid about getting older. She was planning this, and my brother went along with it. He was driving it. She started crying. I can't believe they'd do this. Neither can I. Then came the really dirty tactics. Day 6, my son filed for unemployment, listed wrongful termination without cause as the reason. The state sent me a questionnaire. I attached the cease and desist letter, documentation of his attempted data theft, and a signed statement from our HR director. Unemployment claim denied within 48 hours. Also day 6, I got a call from my business insurance company. Someone had filed a claim saying I'd made threatening statements to employees and created a hostile work environment. Anonymous report. I pulled the security footage. My son had been talking to 3 employees in the parking lot the day before he got fired. Those same 3 employees suddenly submitted complaints to HR about my erratic behavior and angry outbursts. Had my HR director interview them separately. Their stories didn't match. Same general themes, but different details. Clearly coached. I didn't fire them. Instead, I gathered the whole company for a meeting, explained that I'd fired my son for cause, that some false reports had been made, and that anyone who participated in making false statements should reconsider their employment choices. 2 of the 3 resigned that afternoon. The 3rd came to my office crying, apologizing, saying my son had promised him a management position when he took over the company. I appreciated the honesty, kept him on with a final written warning. Day 7, my wife showed up at the office. Security called me. I went down to the lobby. She looked awful, hadn't slept. Makeup couldn't hide the stress. We need to talk. Through attorneys. Please. I'm your wife. You're my soon-to-be ex-wife who tried to have me declared insane. She actually tried to play the victim. I was scared. You've been different, distant. Our son was worried. Our son wanted to steal my company. You wanted access to my money. That's it. Don't dress it up as concern. The kids need help. They're struggling. There it was. What do you mean they're struggling? She froze, realized she'd said too much. What do you mean? Your son. He has some debts, credit cards, a business loan that didn't work out. How much? She wouldn't say. I called my CPA right there, had him run my son's credit. $127,000 in debt. Credit cards, personal loans, 2 car leases he couldn't afford. Plus a $50,000 loan for some crypto investment scheme that collapsed. That's what this was really about. My son needed money, my wife wanted to maintain her lifestyle, and they decided the easiest solution was to take everything from me. Get out. Don't come back. She started crying again. Security escorted her out. That night, I sat in my apartment going through old documents, found my son's employment file. His salary was $95,000. Good money for someone his age, but apparently not enough when you're leasing 2 cars and buying bottle service at clubs. Found old bank statements showing I'd loaned my wife $30,000 2 years ago for home renovations that never happened. Just gone. I'd been funding their irresponsibility for years without realizing it. The betrayal hurt worse than anything. Not the money, I've got plenty. It's that they looked at me and saw a mark, an obstacle, something to remove. My daughter flew in that weekend. We had dinner. She was furious at them but worried about me. Dad, are you okay? Like really okay? I'm tired, but I'm not crazy. I know you're not. I read the doctor's report. You're sharp as ever. They almost convinced me I wasn't. That's the messed up part. I started questioning myself. That's the real damage. They didn't just try to steal from me. They tried to make me doubt my own mind. Update 2, 3 weeks later. The entitlement has somehow gotten worse. I didn't think that was possible. So my divorce attorney filed all the papers. My wife got served. She immediately hired the most aggressive attorney she could find. This guy who has billboards all over town about fighting for your rights. His first move? Emergency motion for exclusive use of the marital home and $20,000 monthly temporary support. His argument: I'd abandoned my wife and she needed to maintain her standard of living. My attorney's response brief was 30 pages of documented elder abuse conspiracy, financial fraud, and asset dissipation. Attached my doctor's cognitive assessment, the cease and desist to my son, and statements from my CPA about the separate accounts. The hearing was a disaster. For them. My wife showed up dressed like she was going to a funeral. All black, minimal makeup, looking fragile. Her attorney started with the abandonment angle. judge wasn't buying it. "Counselor, your client conspired to have her husband declared incompetent. He has documentation. Why would he stay in that home?" "Your Honor, those allegations are disputed. Are they?" "I have a signed statement from the attorney who was present at that meeting." "Yeah, turns out the scumbag lawyer my wife hired for the conservatorship thing got scared after my corporate attorney threatened him with bar complaints. He gave a voluntary statement to cover himself. Confirmed every word of the conspiracy." Judge denied the emergency motion. Set temporary support at $4,000 monthly, barely enough to cover the mortgage and utilities. No exclusive use of the home. And here's the kicker. Ordered a 50-50 split of household items, with me getting first choice since I'd moved out. My wife lost it in the courtroom. Started yelling about how she couldn't survive on $4,000, how I was trying to make her homeless. "Judge, ma'am, your husband alleges you conspired to commit elder abuse. The court is being generous with this support order. I suggest you accept it and retain counsel who will give you realistic expectations." Her attorney tried to recover, but the damage was done. Outside the courthouse, my wife tried to approach me. My attorney blocked her. "You're destroying me. I gave you the best years of my life. You tried to have me declared insane. You're done." But the real chaos started after that hearing. My son, desperate and stupid, started calling my business clients, telling them I was having health issues and offering his services as a consultant who knew my systems. 3 clients called me directly. I thanked them for the heads up and forwarded everything to my corporate attorney. We sent cease and desist letters and threatened tortious interference lawsuits. My son's response? He tried to start his own competing business. Filed the LLC papers and everything. Called it Premier Refrigeration Solutions. The problem? His non-compete clause prohibits him from working in commercial refrigeration within 100 miles of my business for 3 years. My corporate attorney sent him a letter. We'd sue him into bankruptcy if he opened. He sent back a response claiming the non-compete was unenforceable and he had free speech rights to contact potential clients. We filed for a temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction. Got a court date for 2 weeks out. Meanwhile, my wife's dirty tricks escalated. She started calling my sister, my elderly mother, my business partners, anyone she had numbers for, telling them I'd had a breakdown and wasn't myself, that I'd turned on my family without reason. My sister called me laughing. She tried to tell me you've lost it. I told her you've always been the sanest person I know and she should get help. My mother called me crying. She's 82 and doesn't need this stress. "What's happening? Your wife says such terrible things." I drove to my mom's place, sat with her for 2 hours explaining everything. Showed her the cognitive assessment, explained the conspiracy. She was horrified. I never liked that woman, too concerned with appearances. But I thought she loved you. She loved what I provided. My mom hugged me. "You'll get through this, you're strong." But my wife wasn't done. She went to my country club, started telling people I was going through something and implying I was mentally unwell. 2 members called me asking if I was okay. I resigned my membership, wasn't giving her the satisfaction of running my reputation through the mud there. She also tried to access my business accounts, called my bank claiming to be my authorized representative and needed to verify some transactions. The bank called me immediately. I confirmed she had 0 authority and asked them to flag her number. The preliminary injunction hearing against my son was brutal. He showed up with a bargain attorney who clearly wasn't prepared. My corporate attorney brought documentation of every non-compete violation, every client contact, the LLC filing, everything. Judge granted the injunction. My son cannot operate any competing business, contact any of my clients or employees, or work in commercial refrigeration within 100 miles. Violation means contempt of court. My son stood up and yelled at the judge. "This is BS. He can't monopolize an entire industry. I have bills to pay." His attorney yanked him back down. Judge was not amused. "Mr. Sun, you signed a contract. You're bound by it. And given your conduct, attempting to steal data, interfering with business relationships, this court finds you acted in bad faith. The injunction stands, and if you violate it, you'll be explaining yourself from a jail cell." My son stormed out. I later heard he's moved back in with my wife at the house. 2 failures living together. The divorce discovery process has been revealing. My attorney subpoenaed financial records for both of them. Turns out my wife has been hiding money. She had a separate bank account I didn't know about. $83,000 in it. Money she'd been skimming from the household account over the years. She claimed it was her savings, but couldn't explain where it came from. My attorney is arguing it's marital property that she fraudulently concealed. Also found out she'd been taking cash advances on the credit cards for months before I caught the conspiracy. Over $25,000 in cash advances. No explanation where that money went. My son's financial records are even worse. The $127,000 debt I mentioned? It's actually $180,000. He'd been hiding loans from his mother. My wife had been giving him money without telling me. So the whole conspiracy makes sense now. They're both drowning in debt. They saw my business and assets as the life raft. My daughter has been my rock through all this. She flew back for the injunction hearing, sat in the gallery while her brother got humiliated in court. Afterwards, she told me she'd tried talking to him. He's completely delusional, Dad. Thinks you're the bad guy. Says you overreacted. That they were just exploring options for your care. They were planning to commit fraud. I told him that. He hung up on me. Last week I got a letter from my son, handwritten, bizarre. It started normal, apologizing, saying he made mistakes. Then it got weird. He started blaming me for his failures. Said I never believed in him. Said I held him to impossible standards, that I set him up to fail by making him work for the business. No acknowledgement of the conspiracy, no real remorse. Just blame shifting and excuses. I didn't respond. Forwarded it to my attorney in case we need it. Meanwhile, I'm running the business like nothing happened. Promoted my assistant operations manager to replace my son. Guy's been with me 12 years, knows the systems inside and out. Company's actually running smoother now. Had a staff meeting last week, addressed the elephant in the room directly. Some of you know my son no longer works here. Some of you heard stories. Here's the truth. He violated his employment agreement and acted against the company's interests. This is now behind us. We move forward. Nobody asked questions. They could read between the lines. Got preliminary divorce settlement discussions scheduled for next month. My attorney is pushing for a fast resolution. My wife's attorney is stalling, hoping I'll get tired and settle for more. Not happening. I'm petty enough to drag this out as long as needed. The house is becoming an issue though. It's in both our names, worth about $800,000. My attorney wants to force a sale. My wife wants to keep it, wants me to buy her out at full value. I offered 40% of equity, citing her fraudulent behavior and hidden accounts. She rejected it, demanded 60% for her contributions as a homemaker. My attorney's position, she gets 30% max, and that's being generous, given the elder abuse conspiracy. We'll see what the judge says. Final update. 2 months later, it's over. Mostly. The legal stuff is done, the emotional recovery, that'll take longer. The divorce settlement got finalized 3 weeks ago. It wasn't pretty, but it was fair given everything. The judge clearly didn't like my wife's attorney or their arguments. In the final hearing, he spent 15 minutes lecturing about the seriousness of elder abuse allegations and how my wife was fortunate I wasn't pursuing criminal charges. My wife got 35% equity in the house. We're selling it. One of our cars, the older Honda, her personal belongings, $3,500 a month, spousal support for exactly 4 years. Judge called it rehabilitative since she hasn't worked in decades. Half of one retirement account we designated as joint years ago, about $90K. I got the business 100%, was never marital property anyway. All other retirement accounts and investments. My car, 65% equity in the house. The vacation cabin up north, bought before marriage. Her hidden bank account? Judge ruled it was marital property since she couldn't prove separate source. Split 50-50. She was furious. The credit card debt she racked up? All hers. Judge said she deliberately dissipated marital assets and assigned 100% of that debt to her. No exclusive use of the house. We both moved out. It's being sold. Should close next month. My wife tried one last play in the courtroom. Started crying, told the judge she'd given up her career for our family, that I was leaving her destitute. Judge wasn't moved. "Ma'am, your husband is providing 4 years of support. That's ample time to obtain employment or education. And frankly, your conduct during this proceeding, the financial fraud, the asset hiding, the conspiracy to declare your husband incompetent, does not warrant the court's sympathy." Her attorney tried to object. Judge shut him down. "Counselor, your client conspired to have her husband declared mentally incompetent to seize his business. She then maxed out credit cards, hid money, and attempted to manipulate the court. She's receiving far more consideration than she deserves. We're done here." That was that. Papers signed. Marriage over. My son's situation got even messier. 2 weeks after the injunction, he violated it. Started working as a consultant for a competing refrigeration company 80 miles away. Thought he was outside the radius. He wasn't. My corporate attorney found out within days. We filed contempt charges. The contempt hearing was short. My attorney presented evidence, emails, text messages my son had sent to employees trying to poach them, social media posts about his new consulting role. Judge was livid. "Mr. Son, I warned you. You signed an agreement. You're bound by it." My son tried to argue financial hardship. "I have bills, Your Honor. My father cut me off." "Your father fired you for cause after you attempted to steal from his company. Your financial situation is a consequence of your own choices." Judge held him in contempt. $500 fine per day until he ceased all work with the competing company, plus $15,000 in attorney's fees payable to me. My son quit the consulting gig the next day. Last I heard, he's working at an auto parts store. $16 an hour. The karma is pretty satisfying, not gonna lie. My daughter and I are closer than ever. She's been my lifeline through this nightmare. We talk almost daily. Last week, she asked if I was angry. Not anymore. Mostly just sad. Sad that your brother chose money over family, that your mother chose comfort over integrity. They made their choices, Dad. Yeah, and now they're living with the consequences. My daughter paused. Are you gonna forgive them eventually? I thought about it. I don't know. Maybe someday, but forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. They showed me who they really are. The business is thriving. Revenue is up 8% this quarter. Turns out my son's strategic vision was actually holding us back. My new operations manager is excellent. I promoted 3 people, hired 2 new technicians, and we're bidding on a major hospital contract that could double our institutional client base. Life is different, quiet. I live alone in a downtown apartment, cook my own meals, do my own laundry. It's peaceful in a way my marriage never was. I'm not dating. Not interested yet, maybe eventually. My therapist says I'm processing trauma, that having people you trust betray you leaves deep scars. We're working through it. Some final thoughts on the whole nightmare. My wife never apologized. Not once. In her mind, she was justified. I was the villain for overreacting to their reasonable concerns. My son sent one text after the contempt hearing. Hope you're happy. You destroyed your own family. I blocked his number. The hardest part wasn't the legal battles or the money. It was realizing my marriage was a lie, that my wife saw me as a resource, not a partner. That my son viewed me as an obstacle, not a father. You spend decades building a life with someone. You trust them with everything, your dreams, your fears, your vulnerabilities, and then you find out they'd throw you away the second it benefited them. That's the real theft, not the attempted fraud, the stolen years. But here's what I learned. Trust your instincts. When something feels wrong, investigate. Don't let people gaslight you into doubting your reality. I almost dismissed what I overheard, almost convinced myself I misunderstood, almost let them explain it away. If I had, I'd be in conservatorship right now. My son would control my business, my wife would control my assets, and I'd be sitting in some facility being told my own thoughts weren't valid. So yeah, I'm okay with how I handled it. Was it ruthless? Maybe. But they tried to destroy me. I just defended myself. Last thing, my mother asked me if I regret anything. I regret marrying someone I didn't really know. I regret not seeing who my son was becoming. But I don't regret defending myself. She nodded. Good, you did the right thing. That's enough for me. The house closes in 2 weeks. I'll get my equity check. Probably buy a smaller place, something easier to maintain. My daughter's visiting next month. We're planning a trip, nothing fancy, just us hanging out, rebuilding what family means. As for my wife and son, I don't wish them harm, but I don't wish them well either. They made their choices. They can live with the consequences. I'm finally free, and honestly, that's worth more than any settlement.